GM. How's it going, Clemente?
Good morning. Good morning. Feeling like $1,000,000, man. How are you?
Good. Yeah, NFT market showing some signs of life, maybe. Can talk about that, talk about all the news we have in store today. I'm really excited for today's show.
Absolutely. Yeah, you just like you predicted, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in volume, and we have a good amount of stuff to cover today. Some exciting things. Welcome to the WGMI Morning Show, episode number 15. This is where we bring you everything and anything you need to know about the NFT market in 30 minutes or less, using WGMI's various tools and analytics to provide you as much insight and context as possible for your portfolio going forward. If you like what you see, if you like some of the tools that we're bringing you, feel free to DM us the word newsfeed for a chance to win a 7-day trial to use all of our tools. We have a very high success rate from the people that have won the free trial. They are loving the tool, which has been great to see. Some of the broader market stories we're going to cover today. We have the Moonbirds DAO being announced yesterday. And with that, 35% of secondary royalties from Moonbirds and oddities will be funding this DAO in perpetuity, along with other funding and proof. We'll go into more details there and what that meant for oddities and the Moonbirds, floor price and numbers. Also, Renga continuing its Cinderella run. Now it's sitting at a 3.09 ETH floor, but there are still some sales coming in above the floor and movement continuing there. We're going to break down exactly what that means for you if you are holding on to a Renga, as it is coming in second on Opensea's 30-day volume page. As always, we would appreciate if you retweet this broadcast. We're also live on YouTube at WGMI if you'd like to watch there. I'm Chile Army. Ray, who's my co-host. How we doing? Any big takeaways from yesterday's market overall?
I mean, only bullish signs from my point of view, to be honest. The time I spent looking at the market yesterday, we saw that Opensea volume, going over 12 million. I think you got the exact number later. We saw the Renga pump. We saw Artblock's factory actually turn a profit on a quick flip. Saw a lot of positive things that indicate, good things coming for the NFT market. Just a matter of sustaining it over, a longer period of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the USD volume for yesterday, that was at 12.9 million, which is encouraging to see that little uptick there. We haven't seen 12.9 since September 20th, so a couple weeks there. So definitely encouraging. But going on to the morning report, this is brought to you by WGMI Newsroom, WGMI's official news account, as we bring you a morning snapshot every single morning, and so the news that hits our newsfeed over time. Today's Opensea volume, like we talked about, was 12.9. NFT collection sorted by 24 volume. We saw Renga, of course, coming in first once again. We saw Taro World coming in second, although they did have a dip in floor price. They are down a little bit to 0.28. And then Punks running out top three. They saw 8 sales yesterday. Definitely encouraging. Renga Black Box coming in fourth, and the QQL Mint Pass up about an ETH from yesterday when we were covering it, Ray, although those listings are going up. It's definitely interesting to note. You see those listings going up in the red here from some of these tops as people want to take profits, which is normal to see. Ray, anything stick out to you here?
I think we'll dive into Renga a bit later. I think there's some more to talk about there in terms of that price action after we go through the news. I know the QQL we talked a bit about. That's rallied a bit since yesterday. I think we saw it in the 15s when we were talking about it at the end of yesterday's show. That's rallied up into the 17s on Opensea, which is nice to see. There is a bit of, floor price convergence between the minted and the unminted. That 16.5 ETH. QQL is still on the floor there, the one that kind of mimics the Tyler Hobbs. I'll be interested to see how these floor prices play with each other. Are people just wanting to get into this collection and therefore don't mind buying a collection minted by somebody else who may not have any clout, or are they willing to pay that premium to get that unminted mint pass that they can either hold and speculate, or they can mint themselves to, a piece of art that they generate, they feel like they connect to. So just tying up loose ends from yesterday. We'll continue to watch this. But that was kind of front of mind there in terms of, market movement on our dashboard.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I saw yesterday Dandelion tweeted out DMs between them and Tyler Hobbs. They were talking about the QQL Mint Pass experiment and bringing that out. So it's cool to see those DMs, and then a year later seeing it come into fruition.
Yep, for sure. We saw, peak of 21. I think we jumped over the 22. I think we ended the day around 21 there, and sitting at 17 now. I still think this is a great buy. If I was more liquid, I would be grabbing one of these. But like we talked about before, liquidity right now is king. Being nimble, being able to jump into some of these projects where patience may pay out over the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know we have a lot to talk about right today in terms of the news. So I'll hand it off to you. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to jump into the news feed right now, brought to you by WGMI.io. We launched this tool almost a month ago at this point. It has been awesome getting you all of the news, not only to your collections, but all across the NFT market. You can choose to curate the news feed, follow the projects you want to follow as we keep you updated on the latest and greatest. Starting off, we have Memeland announcing that they will be producing some sort of staking and locking mechanism for their MVP NFTs. They originally had this for the potatoes. They had a hack in their Discord, I believe, or some sort of scam that someone fell for and lost one of their MVP NFTs. And they're pointing at that and saying, hey, like if we had this staking mechanism and you couldn't transfer that NFT, you could have, flagged that. You could have transferred it before, the hack was completed. So something to look out for there. I know that, Moonbirds have been talked about with nesting and how that may prevent people from stealing Moonbirds in a hack. Different things of that nature. So interesting to see, and would be interested to see what the rewards are for that staking process. Big announcement this morning coming out from Gary V. There is a partnership with Macy's and ToysRus with VeeFriends. So they are now purchasable on Macy's website. I didn't know that ToysRus was still around. Are they still kicking, or is this coming back to life? I thought they were bankrupt at this point.
Yeah, look, this made me pretty excited. I see two sides of it. The first being like when it comes to growing IP, when it comes to expanding, bringing NFTs forward, it's stuff like this where you bring like can you make a product appealing to someone that doesn't know about NFTs, doesn't care about NFTs or Web3, and I think this can. The price point is a bit steep, but I think it looks cool overall. The other piece that people were talking about is like, hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if the IP gets pushed forward because at the end of the day, Gary V still owns it all. They don't have IP rights. So there's that other part of it is like, hey, we don't get to do anything with it. So it doesn't necessarily matter as much when these types of moves come out.
Yeah, I definitely understand like where's the value driven back to holders. I think these could potentially be decent speculations as collector's items. Maybe some of these vinyl here. These three vinyl guys, I'll be looking at maybe collecting those physicals, keeping them in the box, seeing what's going on there. Something to watch out for sure. We'll be talking to Jeremy at some point about this. I'm sure our curator for the VeeFriends ecosystem.
And just for some context, the floor did run this morning. The VeeFriends Series 2 was sitting at, I believe, 0.34 this morning, and now it's sitting at about 0.38, 0.39. We saw about 15-ish sales come in this morning. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at the 1 day floor. We went up a bit on the VeeFriends 2. The VeeFriends 1, we ran up 5.5 to 5.9. So it could have been a sale or two there. That's a less liquid collection, higher floor price, but maybe some movement on the back of these toys could be the reason. News coming from Metakey, they're announcing Galaxy Fight Club Trophy Run. This is a cross IP game. There's going to be trophies, experience, and some rewards. There's more information linked here and on the Metakey Discord. If you hold a Metakey, take a look at that for sure. We provide a good breakdown here. I won't run you through all of it, but if you do have a Metakey, take a look at that. Make sure you take the proper steps. Jumping into Artbox Curated, we have a drop tomorrow. I'm sure we'll cover it more tomorrow, but this was announced. It is a Fontana by Harvey Rayner. It is a Series 8 drop. Series 8, as we know, is going to be the last Art Blocks curated series. The future curated drops will all not have a series attached to them. So there may be value holding, these 1 to 8 series, and 8 being the last series potentially could hold value as well. This is one I'll be watching out for sure. We're starting at 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. 4 ETH price to start with. Dutch auction dropping down to 0.2 ETH. I like the aesthetics here. I went through some of the outputs that we linked to on our newsfeed as well. Taking a look at these, I think these look nice. I think they're going to have appeal. It is a Art Blocks curated. It is Series 8, like I said, so I'm going to be watching volume for sure. Like I said earlier, we had a factory drop yesterday, bottomed out at 0.15. There were flips in the 0.2 to 0.3 range early, so there's still some life for Art Blocks right now. Good to see. There is liquidity out there, and we saw a bit of that with the Opensea volume numbers that you talked about earlier. Jumping into some Solana news, Magic Eden begins its refund process for those who were affected by the Degentown scam. In July, there was an incident where Solana, there's a Solana project Degentown. I believe it was launched on the Magic Eden launchpad, or it had some sort of Magic Eden connection. There was a rug, or there was some sort of wallet drainer involved. Magic Eden is refunding. It's good to see them coming good on that promise. Love to see what they're building over there in terms of not only Solana, but also jumping into the ETH ecosystem. I think they're going to give OpenSea a run for their money eventually, just a matter of time. Do you dabble with Solana at all, Clemente?
No, I do not. I don't get near Solana. I struggle enough keeping up with all the ETH projects because there's always so much going on. Yeah, I don't know. And after last week, I think Solana just shut down for a little while, so I don't know. I don't dabble in them. I know you have the nifty portal pass, so it sounds like you'll be dabbling into Bodega Buddies.
Yeah,
soon.
absolutely. I need to load some more Sol into my wallet. I may make a fresh wallet. Who knows what happened since that wallet's been active. I minted some rug way back when. It was like a little Uzi Vert project that was an absolute rug. And I just said, I'm done. I'm done with Solana. See you later. I don't think I have the time necessary to spend there. I know like a day in RL is like, it seems like 50 days on Ethereum, and it's probably like 100 days on Solana. So like,
Yeah.
it requires just so much more attention and time. There's money to be made if you have it for sure. But something that, I am going to be jumping in, minting those Bodega Buddies, probably holding long term and seeing where that goes. I know Easy Eats over there is a great figure in the Solana space. Interesting to see where that project takes us. We have an announcement from Psychedelics Anonymous. They're holding a 2-week online courses on medical plants by Cornell University for Genesis holders. Details here. You can use a bit of that utility from your Psychedelic Anonymous tokens. I believe it's Genesis holders only. We provide you the links and the details on our newsfeed. Royal Society of Players, the October staking period has begun. Make sure you stake your assets. We have more instructions via Discord. There's also a 25% increase in staking over the last season, which is good to see. More people active, more people staking their assets as time goes on. Interesting one I saw here. We have the Illuminati DAO finding a historic collection, revamping it, and going to be releasing it. Illuminati DAO, part of Truth Labs. They found this project, CryptoFace, a contract from before CryptoPunks. It was supposed to be, a PFP. Originally, there's some sort of combination involved where you create a face and you can mint it. One crypto face is minted for every Illuminati NFT or the 187 you hold. They link you there to their marketplaces where you can purchase these different NFTs. I'm not sure the value that these are going to hold, if the market is going to respond to say, hey, yeah, these things are valuable. They are old. But, looking at the price, this is pretty similar to OpenSea. I looked at it this morning, about 0.7 on the Illuminatis for a guaranteed chance. To mint, I'm probably staying away, but I will be keeping an eye on that floor for sure. I don't think it's something I can flip. I don't think it's something that will drive a lot. I'm not very confident that these crypto phases will drive a lot of value. I could be dead wrong, but I did enter into the pre-mint raffle they have.
How is this a historical NFT if it hasn't been minted yet? I don't know. I guess I'm kind of lost here on the historical side of things.
Yeah, so I think they discovered the contract and it started minting but didn't mint out. it was originally developed as a hackathon project. It was like supposed to be like an unlimited amount, and they like wrapped the contract and capped the amount or something like that. So you can, still mint on it, but you need to, it will be limited. They did a lot of artificial things around it. That's why I'm kind of a bit nervous, because it's not just an old contract that, hey, someone found out it's minting out. It's like, hey, there's all these other hands in it. Is it really that old if it's being, revamped right now? But I think the base layer of the NFTs you're going to be getting are from that original contract. I think that is the bear or the bull drive towards it.
With all these things, it's similar to everything else, right? It's like if you can get enough people to believe and say, yeah, this is old, this is good to go, then it's gonna be so it's kind of like, hey, what does everyone else think? Do enough people think that this is the case in order for this to be valuable? So we'll definitely see how that plays out.
Yeah, interesting to see for sure. We'll be watching that. We'll keep you updated as we go along. We have the link to the pre-mint in our newsfeed as well. It's a public pre-mint. If you want to get in, if you want a chance of winning, be sure to enter there. Speaking of pre-mint, we have another collector's pass partnership here. If you hold a collector's pass, you can enter in for an allow list for the Wind Chimes project by Mike Shinoda. We've been talking about this. It was, some of his projects. It was Moonbirds. It was Proof. And now it also is collector's pass holders. So you can enter in here if you have a pre-mint collector's pass. In generative art news, we have some news from Xcopy here. He's having a contest for grifters, build your own grifters. And I believe you're getting max pains as rewards. The top 3 build a grifters will be receiving max pains. This is sort of like the QQL contest, where you can randomize grifters and eventually submit one as your entry, and the top 3 winners will get those max pain NFTs. I believe they're still around the 1 ETH floor, maybe a bit below. I haven't checked on them in a while. I know they minted at 1. They ran a bit, hung around 1 for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a bit below right now. But this is interesting because you can also you pick the exact one you want. Like, you don't have to necessarily randomize it. You can say, okay, I think this thing is going to look pretty cool, and go with whatever combination you want, essentially. So cool, free to enter, play around a bit.
Ray. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but if I with the CCO piece, if I use this, let's say I generate one that I really like, am I able to use that for my own benefit, or no, because it's not officially minted?
So I'm not sure on the details of what he's released as CCO. I believe grifters are part of that, and I think you can use this artwork in whichever way you want.
Got it.
So I think you can do whatever you want without legal issue with any of these ones you generate. Could see a new PFP coming up.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? We might have.
Awesome. Moving on a bit, we have Three Landers merch. I haven't looked at this yet. Looks like it'll be live on October 7th. I haven't looked at the quality. I know we talked a bit about Three Landers before. Looks like we have some shirts, some skateboard decks, hats. Some pretty basic things there. I don't know if your thoughts on Three Landers have changed at all, Clemente. I know
looks pretty standard. They did catch a lot of heat for their first round of merch because they partnered up with a pretty high level, high end brand, but you had to pay an exorbitant amount of money to get that merch. So people are like, hey, for the first drop, shouldn't it be focused around getting more people on it? This should be rather cheap, but still, as high quality as you can get for a good price. So, who knows? But didn't seem. 180 likes. It was posted later on in the day, so seems like it hopefully it'll go pretty well for them. But it seems pretty standard. Nothing special catches my eye there.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Nothing really jumps out there as being something special. If you're into Three Landers, check it out for sure. Some news from Knights of Degen. They're raffling away 3 $500 stipends to travel to New York City. They're having their 1-year anniversary party from their mint at Gramercy Ale House in New York City. That's October 27th on a Thursday. So if you want to travel there, if you want to have some of your expenses covered, definitely enter into that if you're a Knights of DGen holder. We saw the Kith and BMW collection live for the next 48 hours. That was as of yesterday afternoon. So it'll be running till tomorrow afternoon. Get that exact date set for you. This is the Kith and BMW collection. I believe there is some sort of like car accessory that gets added to your NFT. Definitely take a look at that if you hold a Kith friend. Royal Society of Players announced a poker tournament every other Thursday, not only open to holders, but open to the public. So if you want to enter in, if you're a poker ace, feel free to jump into here. We have some links to the original sources. You can take a look at their Twitter account. You're going to be earning Royal, even if you aren't a holder. This is for use in their Royal marketplace. They had some cool NFTs in there, definitely some things with some value. I believe they had some on-chain monkey NFTs and other NFTs that did have, a decent bit of monetary value back to them. So good chance to win some Royal to bid on those items in the marketplace. We have another Lazy Lions merch drop, Series 1, Drop 3. Interesting how they spread these out. I wonder if it was, a kind of a way to, keep hype and attention, sell them in short batches, continue to sell them out each time pretty quickly. I know we looked at Drop 1, we talked about that. It was sold out in an hour. Drop 2 sold out in a few hours, I believe. But now we have Drop 3 on the horizon for tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll talk about it tomorrow, I believe. Just to remind you, coming up on this time tomorrow, end of our show, it will be available. So make sure if you missed out on the first couple, or if you're somebody who's just figuring out about this, jump in early. Have a good chance to get this merch. I haven't really taken a look at it. I don't know if they've expanded it each time or not. I know they have, hoodie. This looks like a towel, hat, sweatshirt. Pretty basic, price point seems about right. I wonder how the quality is on these items.
They actually look pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they're
I
not I figured they'd be like very loud and obnoxious, knowing the lines in general. This is very muted and like understated, I think, comparatively.
What I like about it as well is like not necessarily pushing the NFT or the mascot on there, but more of like, hey, like trying to actually make something that anybody, no matter what, if you own the NFT or not, would like.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'll be monitoring this, and we'll be reminding you about it tomorrow. Pushing on, Drift is leaving his final one-of-ones on Super Rare, and he's discussing prices via DM. So he has some pieces here on his Super Rare page. There's no list price, owned by Drifter Shoots, and apparently he will be, negotiating with potential collectors via DM directly. Interesting to see that. I know he's done a tremendous job of selling not only his Where My Vans Go collection, but his First Day Out collection. He's done a great job in terms of marketing and generating hype. One of the few photographers is really thriving in this space for sure. Interesting to see this. If you're a Drift fan, now you know how to get them. You'll have to hit him up personally. Coming to the big news of the day, we had the Moonbirds DAO details announced. A lot to unpack here. Starting out, 35% of Moonbirds and Oddities royalties, I believe starting this month, are going to be going directly into the Moonbirds DAO treasury, and that will be going, in perpetuity. In addition to that, Proof is transferring $2 million in USDC to kickstart the DAO treasury. The DAO treasury will also manage NFT assets. There will be some partners who want Moonbirds DAO support. They're going to come to the DAO with proposals, and part of that payment, they're going to be giving NFTs that they're minting potentially into the DAO treasury. So that'll be one means of obtaining NFT assets into the treasury. Proof will also be transferring $100,000 worth of Moonbirds into the DAO directly from their company wallet. We're looking at what's the floor price now on them, about 11 ETH. So we're looking at some quick math, 11 at 1350.
It's at 10 ETH right now.
10 ETH?
Yes.
Okay, so you're looking at 1350, 100,000 divided by 1350. You're looking at 7-ish Moonbirds going there directly. And then 500,000 has been allocated to buy Moonbirds off of the floor, or maybe specific traits that'll kind of be voted on Maybe internally, maybe there'll be some kind of polling, but this is going to occur before the DAO actually launches. And they're wanting to do like a slow drip, not necessarily a floor sweep of these birds. At the current price, this is about 37 Moonbirds that will be added to the DAO from Proof Direct Funding. They talked about all these birds being added to the DAO are nested, and all the rewards are going to be accrued to that DAO treasury. And he mentioned, specifically the mythics and the proof token, whenever that drops and whatever that is, will be accrued to the DAO treasury for all of those Moonbirds. The DAO can purchase and sell DAO treasury NFTs as well through votes, I'm sure. They talked a bit about who the voting members are. It will be Moonbirds and mythics holders. Oddities and proofs will not get a say, but your oddities, you can burn for mythics coming into the new year. So there will be some sort of, conversion there. If you want a vote, you have to burn your oddity if you are an oddity holder. And they talked a bit about the ratio of voting power. This is interesting to see as it's kind of laying the groundwork for how they view Moonbirds versus mythics in terms of utility. They said one Moonbird will have, more voting power than two mythics. So interesting to see there. They didn't say like 1 equals 2. They said, one will have more voting power than two mythics. So valuing mythics a little under half of a Moonbird. And this is going to be launching early 2023 in terms of the DAO framework, when the proposals will start, being launched, etc. They're going to start funding it now to have it ready to go by then. But the actual DAO and then all the, voting that comes with it and the management will occur in 2023. We can probably unpack this a bit more. I know we talked a bit before the show, Clemente. What are your thoughts on the oddities and how they've reacted to this news?
Very briefly, yeah. I mean, it was really encouraging to see. I know yesterday we talked about how we liked how the listings were going down so consistently. We saw them up in the low 400s, now in the low 300s. Right beforehand, what caused most of the price action to jump from 1.2 ETH to 1.4 was a big sweep of around 20 Moonbirds by one person. So other than that, there wasn't much action going into it. It was a little bit of an artificial pump just because the listings were so low. But afterwards, really, the only thing you saw was the listings were at 298 before the announcement, and now they're sitting at 316. Other than that, it seems to be pretty steady. People seem to be, what's interesting is the listings continue to go down, or sorry, the unique owners continue to go down. But the way I look at it is like, hey, if some of these big Moonbird holders, they want to hold maybe 3, 4, 5, if not more. And then the other people that do come in are like, hey, I'd like a Moonbird mythic. So overall, it makes me really bullish on what's to come. It makes me bullish on what the voting power is going to look like in terms of, hey, it's going to be like they're teasing about half of it. So I like this. I think it's a great buy. However, I do think that if we can get in, like we were talking about earlier, if we can get into the 1.1 to 1 range, we're going to be set for a little while. And that's going to be a great buy that we'll keep you guys posted on.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Is it a matter of people like not looking at oddities right now and saying, okay, well, oddities basically just got announced as being part of the Moonbirds DAO, and that they can be burned for a mythic, which is part of the Moonbirds DAO. So, I don't know if that's being, looked at here, if that's being thought about. And, that half a price of Moonbirds, Moonbirds sitting at 10, you'd think a mythic would be sitting maybe in the 3 to 4 range, potentially 3 to 5,
right,
somewhere in that range. So, I mean, this could be another patience play. It's all determined on what the market does overall, price of ETH, etc. But, I love this as a buy here. I'm still going to be greedy and wait. I think that we are going to see a chance to capitalize on lack of patience. If they don't continue to leak this news, it's just a matter of like, are people going to realize like that information? Like, hey, this is part of the Moonbirds DAO essentially. Once you burn it, and
well, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. It's like I think what I thinking and going through like rationally is like, hey, it's going to go down. The reason we're not buying in is because we think we can go lower. I think that's what 75% of other speculators are also thinking. They're like, man, okay, it's at 1.3. I think I can get it at 1.1, and it's kind of like a game of chicken almost. Where we think that there's a fair market value that we're going off of, but it could be like in a month or 2 months, some big players start stepping in and some big money enters it and they're sitting at 2 ETH. And we're like, okay, well, we should have gotten in earlier. So definitely something to keep in mind. But there's going to come a point where we're going to have to step in at some point and scrounge up the ETH to hand over. But I think overall, like at this price, either way, you're sitting okay. We're just kind of being a little greedy in current market conditions and wanting to get it at a discount.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Ryan Carson's sitting on the sideline with ammo. He's going to unload in October. This could be something that he's thinking as well, looking at this, saying, I have the Moonbirds. Why not get some oddities now as well? Um, Definitely want to watch out for it. Going to continue to monitor the price, continue to monitor action. If we see listings continue to drop and price stay flat, may think about jumping in at this price, but we'll see.
Absolutely, absolutely. In other words, in other kind of news that we were seeing earlier, we saw in our 30-day volume for Opensea, we see Renga coming in second, and if you add in the volume that the Renga Black Box has been doing, it's actually number one. Would be leading being the most traded collection in Opensea over the last 30 days, which is extremely impressive. Big props to everyone involved in it. Ray, I know you had some different takes you wanted to get on it. What was interesting as far as the prices, the average price, and there's still being some sales over the floor price, which seems to be bullish for you. But I'd love to break this down for us.
Yeah, let me take a look here. So I was building out a chart this morning for Renga, specifically looking at the black boxes and the floor prices. So the first thing I looked at was, the floor price between the black box and the Renga revealed since they've launched on the 9th. And, we kind of maintained like early, a little bit over a 2x. And as we've kind of increased, we've lost that 2x necessarily, but we have, widened in terms of ETH. Obviously, that happens as the ratio increases. Like looking at the gap now, we're looking at like 3 versus 5.2. That's dipping a bit. And the one thing that's interesting, like we talked about, there are a lot of sales that are over the average or over the floor. Like our average sales on our collection page here, looking at, the 1 hour, there's been 4 sales. The average is 4.5. Over the last 6 hours, the average is 4.6. So you're looking at like these higher averages. They're very close to, that unrevealed box. At some point, looking at those unrevealed boxes may be the better entry point than the actual Renga themselves. It's going to need to, depend on the continued success of Renga. I mean, Chart's not going to go up like this forever. And it's really just making sure that you're not jumping in at a top. And I think we kind of looked a bit at the listings versus the floor here. Listings in green have shot way up over the last few days as the floor continued to rise. And the floor's rising and the listings rise. It's only a matter of time potentially until that levels off and we do see oversupply, not as much buying volume come in, and then all these listings starting to undercut to get out. So we've called a few of these local tops, local bottoms on Renga. I'm not quite ready to call this one, but I think we may be approaching it somewhere in this, 3.5. We might see another local top and a pullback. Maybe pull back to 2.5, even 2 ETH going forward. I'm not very confident that that'll happen. I know there's a lot of support. It has a lot of momentum. There are big names behind it. People seem to vibe with the art. There are the sales over floor, but you don't often see a project continue to rise without, pulling back, retracing a bit, consolidating, and then before its next run.
Yeah, when it gets euphoric like this and everyone's winning, it's like, okay, it has to stop at some point. There's not unlimited money in this market. There's always winners and losers. And I have to keep telling myself that. One of the things I do realize though, and it throws off the numbers for when you look at unique owners, when you look at listings, is we have to consider the fact that we have to look at how many black boxes are being burned every single day and how is that contributing to the overall supply. So I think it's almost more relevant to look at what is the total percentage listed versus the total number listed. And even that, though, when you take that into consideration, we're sitting at 23% for Renga, when before, I think at its lowest over the recent run, Renga was sitting at about, I think it almost got below 20% listed.
Yeah, looking at some of the listing numbers, it looks like the black boxes are following kind of the Renga in terms of number listed. 92 at the bottom. We've ran up over the last couple of days to 130. There are about 2,100 listed out of the total supply of 10K. I don't have the supply column up, but I believe it's a 10K total between the two. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, that to me is a bit of a red flag, Ray. Not a red flag, but that's possibly a possible top signal. If you're sitting at if your supply is going down significantly over time and it's a deflationary supply, but it pops up that much, to me, that's a sign that, hey, that the Renga black boxes, is there the volume there to support this pump or this current price point, or people wanting to take profits in this current market. So there's going to be a time where there will be a pullback. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and there will be losers in this. But we don't know when it's going to be necessarily. We can make our best guess based on the information that we see.
That would be interesting is to maybe we'll have to knock on Tom's door later and get him to start storing or pull up historical numbers for supply. Normally, it's not very relevant. You wouldn't think you would need to store supply over time, but for some of these deflationary supplies where you're minting one into another, it could be interesting to see, over time, like, hey, how's that supply changed? How have the listings changed against that supply as it's been deflationary? You look at as we're seeing more of these mint passes and other things of that nature. Definitely an interesting metric to track. Could be one that's not looked at as often or not tracked on as many sites. Something to look at for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thing I'll say on it, not to beat on it, but Ray, there are different rarities for these black boxes. I don't know if you can click on the Opensea there, but there's like a 1 of 1 box. There's a different like kind of tiers for it. So it almost makes it less valuable in terms of ratio because you don't have that expected value to be in the chance that you do hit a 1 of 1 and it's worth 40 ETH. You have to kind of also take that into consideration. So I know we were talking about that earlier. I just kind of thought about that. Like, hey, there's those super common ones, and those are the ones that we're seeing on the floor. And those are likely the expected value of those, average price on those sales, is likely a lot lower than some of these higher ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. And thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure. I mean, I didn't know that personally. I haven't looked into the black box collection. I thought it was just, just the one box. But now looking at this, definitely makes sense. I take back what I said about that gap. I think this makes it a lot less likely to be a good entry at that price. Those floor are probably a bit closer to the 3 than some of these more.
I just thought of that. I just remembered it. I know there was a 1 of 1 box that sold for I think 44 ETH pretty recently. So I do like what they're doing with the it's like a mini reveal over time. It's like, I guess your black boxes reveal, and then you can turn those into an actual Renga once these get burned. So it is cool to see.
Yeah, and like I know we talked about this before, but Gangster All Stars, they did the same sort of deal, and that's I saw what they were doing. It was similar to Renga. I jumped in early here. We called it out in the Discord. But these, they revealed weapons and they revealed the contract. There's still boxes that are unrevealed, and they're doing a similar like kind of cadence. And the next thing is going to be the PFPs. So interesting to watch these. I'm not jumping in here, but I'll be watching for sure. I still hold one of the original 4 I got around that 0.3 range.
And it is interesting seeing like how kind of the meta changes over time of the art and of these kind of reveal strategies, and how quickly projects are to pivot. I know this one's been out for a little while longer, but it will be interesting to see people take the same model that they use for Renga success and bring it on for these new collections that we'll see drop over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to see where this goes. Excited to see where Renga goes. That being said, are we pretty much finished up with what we have to cover today? Do we get through all of it?
Yes, the only thing we have left is the project of the day. I'll run through this very quickly because we have Rare A Pepe Yacht Club back in the project of the day. This came up to me after I was using the indicators that we now have available in our dashboard. Just for reference, I like to see a decrease in listings and a decrease in floor price over time with sustained sales. So we see over the last 24 hours, 62 sales, 300, and then over the last 7 days, 331 sales. But that floor price is still going down. And at the same time, though, look at these listings, Ray. So over the last week or so, we saw listings go from 1240 down to 1044. So I'd like to see the big sales. I'd like to see the listings going down. I'd like to see that floor price going down because to me, it tells me that I can get it at a discount and I can be comfortable holding it for a while, meaning a week, to me when I'm speculating. So look, I'd be looking to get in at around sub 0.4. The only thing that's crazy to me is that the unique owners is just not great. It's below 30%. But other than that, like, to me, it just tells me that people are just looking to accumulate. So I'm looking to make a play here. Not financial advice, of course, but based on the indicators, based on the numbers that I'm seeing, this seems like it could be a great buy. I would look to get in below 0.4 and get out in the 0.5 to 0.55 range for a quick flip.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Love to see the play of the day. I think that one could be interesting for sure with the rare Pepes. Excited to either rip on you or congratulate you later this week. That being said,
so we'll see.
That being said, we're just about out of time here. If you like what you saw on our show, you can mint our all access pass at WGMI.io. It provides access to all of the tools and features we are using to break down the NFT market. You have the portfolio. We didn't even jump into our portfolio tracker. That's the OG tool, the most accurate, most customizable portfolio valuation tool on the metaverse, I will say. We also have the Project Explorer pages, the dashboards, the charts, the news, everything you want to maximize your NFT gains, to make sure you don't miss out on any events, any airdrops, any news, making sure you save time, not jumping into the Discords, not having to go through, clear all those notifications. We keep you up to date on your holdings on the most actionable and important news. That being said, thank you for listening, and we're going to make it.